Welcome back to another Coffee and a Chat Survival Saturday. You know those TikTok videos and the YouTube channels and everything where everybody's like so perfect? Oh, today I thought I would make some homemade churned butter for our toast this morning, and and she looks like she's perfect out of a magazine, and yeah, that's not real. There's no way that she gets dressed up in like a 1950s housewife, prestige dress and with high heels and goes into, puts her little frilly apron on and her hair all done up and her full face of makeup to, you know, churn some butter for breakfast. Yeah, it's not the real world. I don't live in that world. And yes, I guess it's ice water and a chat today because I needed some water. I don't live on coffee. I know it's a little scary that I might, and sometimes, when I get cut, I'm a little concerned what might actually come out. But I drink a lot of water too. So right now I need some water. And honest, I am so tired. And people are like, "Oh, you should never be that honest. You should." I knew this one guy that I used to work with. And he always wanted me to just be, like life is perfect. It's great. And really upbeat with everybody. You should never admit that you're tired or that, oh, sorry, I'm running a little behind today. Oh, no. You have something positive to say instead. And anyway, I didn't even work for him. He was just someone else that worked there. So I didn't have to do what he said, but I used to look at him like he had three heads. And I thought he knew me, but it's like, yeah, you don't know me. I'm in reality, people. So, so to my past coworker, yeah, it's not always great. And sometimes you are running behind, and sometimes you are tired, and sometimes the day isn't going as planned, and sometimes there's a lot going on, and it's okay. And I know even within the church, oh no, you've got to make positive confessions. Only say positive things. You guys, that's not even scriptural. But being honest, telling the truth, that is. So you know what? If I'm tired, I'm not going to lie to you and try to make you think that I'm just perfect and wonderful and never have struggles. I'm not going to do that. If I'm tired, I'm going to tell you I'm tired. If I'm having a bad day, I'll tell you I'm having a bad day. If I'm a little challenged in it, or I had a stinky attitude, or whatever. Because I get more from people myself that are being honest about stuff, and I can go, so you're human too. So how do you deal with that? What do you do with that? That helps me more than all the fakey, frilly, whatever. So I'm having one of those days where it just is what it is. And it's okay. It's all good. And I'm very thirsty. And the other truth, I'm out of coffee. I have no coffee in my house, so, which is good because it's getting me to probably drink more water like I need to, because today is one of those days I could be sucking down a couple of pots of coffee. But anyway, so this is a Survival Saturday video. Yes, I took 4 minutes just to tell you how real my day is. But I don't know when this is actually going to go up because we've been dealing with an internet outage and it seems to just keep on going. So I'll get this up as soon as the internet allows me to do it. So if it's a Survival Saturday that comes up on Sunday or Monday or whatever, welcome to the real world where things don't always go as planned and everything isn't perfect and wonderful. But we can still be good in it, right? We can still be fine. And that's part of what Survival Saturdays are about, is even when things don't go like we want them to go or like we think they should go or how we planned them to go, it's being able to go with the flow and do what you got to do to get through what you got to get through and just do it. And that's kind of what today's been. I've had to do a few things I really hadn't planned to do and I really didn't want to do, but it was necessary to take care of those things. So I did. And now I get to sit down and take a little break and spend time with you. And I love doing that. So today I wanted to talk about one of the resources that has been important in my life, especially when it comes to survival. Okay? And that's thrift stores. Thrift stores now, they're not what they used to be. I'll be honest with that right up front. I guess, that some people say the economy is getting better and prices are going down. I haven't seen it. In fact, Marvin and I, when we were dealing with our washer, and if you watch my other videos, you'll know we had our washer, our last appliance that hadn't been replaced yet went down. And we had to go get a washer, and we had to get a bunch of stuff to go with it because we had some plumbing issues and stuff that were exposed by the washer going down, which was an awesome thing because it saved us what could have been a really bad mess, a lot of damage. And so it was a blessing that washing machine went out. And the new one, it's great. I haven't had, and it's a brand new one. I haven't had a brand new washing machine in probably over 30 years, easy. So I've probably only had this is probably the second brand new washing machine I've ever had in my entire life. Because I used to always buy used because you could get them really cheap. Where I live, I can't get used cheap anymore. It's almost the same price as brand new, which is why we ended up going ahead and getting brand new because at least we get a year's warranty with it. So thrift shops are kind of come that way too. I used to love to go to thrift shops because I could get things so cheap. I could go buy me a pair of shoes that was practically new for $2. Not anymore. The prices have definitely gone up in the thrift stores too. And, so I don't necessarily always find a great bargain. In fact, I found some things at thrift stores that I could go buy it brand new for less money than what they were selling it used. And I think part of that, that happens at yard sales too. And I love yard sales. Let's just throw yard sales. It's not, that time of year is going away now, but let's throw yard sales in with these thrift stores because it's the same type thing. And yes, people are putting higher prices on stuff, but I still love thrift stores. I still love yard sales because I can find things that I maybe can't find anywhere else. I can find the old stuff that's still good. And if today had gone better, I would have a couple of items to hold up for you, like an old egg beater, the rotary thing where you turn the wheel and the beaters start going, and you're the power. You're the energy that runs the machine. And I've got 2 or 3 of those because I have my mom's old one, and I have, I think, one of my grandma's and one that I found at a thrift store or yard sale. And for like a couple of bucks. It was very reasonable because a lot of those things, nobody really uses them anymore. Even a whisk, and you can buy whisks new and for, not a whole bunch of money. And there's different kinds of whisks, that do different things. But the whole idea is when you don't have electricity, or if you can't afford electricity, which we're very close on that. I think our electric bill should come out next week, and I did a sneak peek on the usage, and even with everybody in the house, we did manage to bring it down some this month. So this electric bill is not going to be as scary as the last 2, which has been fine because everybody, chips in and pays their part. So we're getting through, but oh my word. I'm like, when it was just Marvin and I, that was one thing, but now with, other people in the house, like right now we've got 6 people here, and, everybody comes in with all these electronic devices that get plugged in, and it adds up fast, especially with the rate of electricity going up like it has been. So dealing with that, I want to be prepared. Okay, it's like today, dealing with no internet and not knowing how long it's going to be out or what the problem is. If I didn't use the internet, if I didn't have the internet, this wouldn't even be a stress. I wouldn't be shut down. There were so many things that I was going to get done today that required me getting online. And so none of them have got done. And it gets a little stressful because there are things that need to be taken care of, things I need to go look at or check or whatever. And, and so when it's missing, you start realizing how much that's a part of your life. Not to mention how many people just seem so bored in the house. They don't know what to do because there's no internet. So you know what? Guess what? They decided to go out and do some more work because they can't do whatever they were going to do on the internet. And I'm getting some other things done that I hadn't planned to do, because it's what I can do. But we get our lives so dependent on so many things that when stuff goes down, and I don't know about where you're at, I know we're experiencing more and more things with things going down, and they're always, keep telling us, like this winter, there might be some days that you're not going to have electricity. You need to be prepared for that. Make sure your generator's up and running. Okay, but then you got to have the fuel for the generator. I mean, we're just dependent on so much stuff. And what for my own personal self and my own personal conviction, has been not just about being able to get along without stuff, but it's about being as self-sufficient as I can, being able to produce as much as I can of what I need, whether it's food, cleaning supplies, clothing, whatever. And, and where are my resources coming from? I had a thing, I needed a container, a very special container, something the mice couldn't get into, something that, that would hold some personal items that, anyway, without going into a lot of detail, I needed a special container for a special purpose. And I couldn't figure it out. And the other night when I was dreaming, I had this dream about this container that I had in one of our trailers that we've got some stuff stored in. And when I woke up, I'm like, that would work. So I actually got in there today, and there it was. So I've got it to clean it up, and so it's going to take care of one of my situations. So I'm very thankful for that, and I've talked about that on here, about learning to use what we have already and not always going to get stuff. But what are the things that I do in a day? What are the basic things I do with cooking? What do I need? For most things, a hand whisk will do, but there's times when you really need to beat something, and my old hands cannot whisk fast enough, but an egg beater will do it, and all I got to do is turn that. So I already have that, and I have, I think, a green one, a yellow one, and a red one. And so, when I go to a thrift store, I go and I'll look through all the kitchen stuff, and I look through everything. I'll even look through like where they'll have maybe curtains and stuff hanging, because sometimes you can pick those up, sheets, stuff really cheap, and it's a lot of material, and you can make clothing out of it, or you can make something else you might need. I found like old blankets, and then I'll make a quilt cover to go over it, and turn it into a quilt and use that for my batting, because I could get the blanket for like $1. And it doesn't matter if the blanket has stains or whatever, as long as it's clean, then it's just going to be my filler. So I know that I can go to a thrift store, and even though the prices are up on some things from what they used to be, there are still things that I can get there I can't get other places, or I can't get that kind of a deal on. So depending on what it is you need, what it is you use, what it is you're looking for. I mean, there's even the old toasters. I saw one of for over a campfire. It's a long metal rod, and then it has the two sides that clamp up over your bread, and then you toast it over the fireplace or over the open fire when you're camping. And I saw that, and I was like, I should get that. And I think they wanted like $7 something. I was like, oh, I'm not paying $7 for that. Well, since then I thought I should have paid the $7 for it, because there's so many ways that I could use that in cooking if there was no propane, no electricity, if I needed to cook over an open fire, there's a lot of things that you can cook with, not, you don't just have to make a piece of toast. There's a lot of things you can do. So, and you can even, I know my mom used to do it when we'd go camping, and she'd put, 2 buttered pieces of bread with the cheese in the middle and put it together in that thing, because it clamps for, however thick you need it to be. And she'd make us toasted cheese sandwiches over an open campfire. And let me tell you, you've never really had a toasted cheese sandwich until you've had one cooked over an open campfire. Oh my word, everything tastes better that way. But it's looking for things like that, thinking outside the box of things you can, that might come in handy, and you don't have to have electricity, and you don't have to have batteries, and you don't have to have gas or propane or any of that stuff. All you need is you. And so I'm trying to collect more and more things like that, not to get a ton of them, but to get a little bit of something, so that I know, one item can do multiple things. So I might not need a whole bunch of different things. And with my egg beaters, see, if I run into somebody that needs one, I've got extra. Here, what color do you want? No, just don't take the red. That's my favorite color. Do you want the yellow or the green? Although they're all 3 so cute. But anyway, I am so thirsty today. We're at the end of summer and the last heat, I think, and it's just drying me out. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of share that thought of going out to yard sales and stuff, because sometimes the things you can find, I've got a list of things I'm looking for, like the old coffee grinders, okay? And it's not just to grind coffee beans, because that's one of the first things that's going to go that you can't afford. But so not just that, but when I do, I can make garlic powder out when I dry my garlic, or I can, chop up some of my herbs, to use them for seasonings. There's so many things that you can use that for. Another thing is Marvin and I have, again, I think we've got 3 of them, but the old meat grinders, the big stainless steel, or not stainless steel, whatever, they're heavy anyway, they're almost like cast iron, but they're silver. Are they maybe painted cast iron? I don't know. But we have the meat grinders that you clamp it onto the edge of a table or a counter, and then you can grind your meat. And again, that can be used for multiple things. But just for that, I found at a yard sale for 50 cents is one of the little juicer things that, it's a glass jar, and then it's got a plastic lid. I would have if I can find an all glass one, I'm going to do that, because the plastic is kind of getting brittle. And then it's got the cone thing on top where you take your orange or whatever and do your thing, or your lemon, and then the juice runs down into the glass jar, and it's got a little pour spout. It's great. I use that thing all the time for stuff. I have my mom's old juicer, not like the kind you plug in, but it almost looks like a still, that you set on your stovetop or on an open fire, and it's got the water container in the bottom that creates the steam. Then it's got the next section is what collects the juice, and there's a hole in the center that the steam comes up through, and then the basket on top of that is where you put your fruit, and then it drips down, as it extracts the juice out of it. And so I did some apple juice the other day, because we had a bunch of Gala apples given to us that were delicious and made wonderful juice. And so we're on our last jar of it, because I knew I was going to can it. I think I got 5 quarts out of the apples that we had. And so I was going to can it, and then it was like, no, just stick it in the fridge, because we'll go through it. And it's so good for us. So much better than whatever you're going to buy at the store. There's nothing extra added in it, no preservatives, nothing. And if you want it a little sweeter, you can add some sugar to it. I kind of left everybody up to their own, but all it took was, a few hours of letting it do its thing and collecting the juice out of it and putting it in the jars and sealing them and letting them cool, and then refrigerating them. And if I had gotten a lot, then I would have just processed them in the canner very quickly. Or actually, you really don't have to, because you're putting boiling hot juice in the jars, and you can get them to seal just like that. Because the more heat you apply, the more vitamins you can lose. But hey, So anyway, I've kept that, even though it takes up quite a bit of space. I've got a place, in the top of a closet where it sits in its box when I'm not using it. And I'm so glad I've held on to it, because I've done so many different things with different juices and stuff. Marvin and I got some Concord grapes one time that were given to us. And so we made grape juice out of it. And that's what Welch's grape juice is the Concord grapes, the purple grapes. And oh my word, it was so good. So, and all I need is I can do it on my wood stove. I could do it out on, over an open fire. I can make the juice. It can be done. So, yeah. Just thinking along, what are those things that help me to be able to do some of the extra things in life, that still keeps things going and keeps some joy? Because I'm telling you, if all we can do is open a can of beans to eat for every meal, you're going to get sick of that real fast. Add a little rice to it or whatever. Yeah, beans and rice are okay once in a while, but for every meal? Now, I want to be able to do a lot of different things. And again, as I've told you guys many times, I don't just get these things and then put them away, but I use them. And I use them now so that I know how to use them. And so they're a part of my regular life. And, and like those egg beaters, it's not that easy. You got to hold it just right in that bowl and turn that thing. It takes a little getting used to. And I know that's all we had when I was a kid for the longest time. And so my mom would always have us kids be turning the egg beater. But there were a lot of times that's all we had. That she didn't have a mixer, or, we sure didn't have blenders back then. I do know for a little while we had a milkshake machine that I think somebody had let us borrow. And that was fun. But, from the 50s, which it was like early 60s when we had it. And so probably somebody replaced it with something else, and I don't know. But there's all kinds of stuff. I have an good old-fashioned hand crank ice cream freezer to make homemade ice cream in. I don't want to get rid of it, because that's something that may be a real treat someday. And again, there's multiple things that you can do in there than just ice cream. So stretching our thought process, using our imagination to come up with other things, and looking. I'm in the process. I'm going through piece by piece, room by room, and and there are things that, if all it is collecting dust and it isn't of use, and I'm not overly sentimentally attached, I'm letting it go. I'm trying to stock my home, downsize it, so I don't have so much stuff, because a lot of stuff overwhelms me. But I'm trying to downsize it and keep it stocked with the things that will make our life better, and have some of the little special treats at times. And so that's why I love when I go to a thrift store or a yard sales. I'm looking for those unusual items that maybe somebody doesn't have anymore. So looking for my coffee grinder that you turn by hand. There were some other things that I was thinking about this morning that I've been looking for a while. And now I can't think of them, and I didn't write them down because I was sidetracked by there's no internet. But maybe it'll come back up. So, eventually it will, but maybe soon. So anyway, just, looking for those different things that can make our life more pleasant, more enjoyable, and do something special. Especially, I think I am more creative in that as we come into fall and then winter, because I'm not doing as much stuff outdoors, and I start to, as the weather changes, I'll be doing more and more indoors and thinking more along those lines. And we get the wood stove when we get to those temperatures, and we start firing that thing up. I usually have a pot of something on there just about every day, and just finding those things that just kind of make it cozy. And when everybody, comes in from being out in the cold and they need to warm up, you've already got some stew on the stove, or some soup, or, or whatever, some fresh baked bread. And, I did some experimenting with my Dutch oven last winter because I didn't have an oven. My oven went out. And so I was trying to find, and I was surprised at how many things I could actually bake in my Dutch oven on my wood stove. And so I'm hoping this year that I will continue to try and find things like that. And I have 2 different styles of Dutch ovens. I have the one that's flat, that just sits right on, and that is a little easier for something to kind of scorch in. So when I'm doing the baking, I also have the one that sits up on the little legs that's made to put in hot embers. But when I set it up and then the air circulates around it, that one works better for me for baking in. And so yeah, it's kind of fun. I don't know. It's not a chore to me. I'm enjoying it. And I think that that's part of it, is changing our mindset and not thinking that everything has to be with all these gadgets and doodads. And I mean, I know people that have so many different appliances in their kitchen, and a different machine for every project they do. And that, like, where do you even put it all? I want to be able to be in a compact space. I don't need a lot of room. And so I do find when you're just using pots and pans that you find you really don't need so much. And yeah. So I'm not trying to get a lot of stuff, but I am trying to get the things that will make life a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more pleasant and enjoyable, and that warm, wintry feeling going. All right, well, with that, I'm going to say I love you guys. I hope that you're doing really well, and that things are going well for you. And I love hearing from you. I thank you for those that leave comments, that send emails, and send me letters to my P.O. Box. Again, I don't know why, but that's like my most favorite thing. When I open that P.O. Box and there's something in there for me, a letter from somebody that's been watching the videos, I get so giddy. It's so excited. That is like the ultimate for me. I love that. And then I keep those letters, and every so often I go back and read them. It encourages me. It blesses me more than you guys can even imagine. So thank you for those that take the time to do that. And I'm just a few away from having 300 subscribers, which is amazing to me. So again, thank you to those that have subscribed, that hit the like button, that leave comments, that share the videos, all those different things that help get the videos out there and raise me up in the algorithms so that more people can maybe discover them. And it's not just about doing the survival thing. I mean, yes, I've got this on here because I think it's important. There are things coming, and there are things already here. And I'm hearing more and more people that get it now, that used to think that that was crazy, and now they're seeing the issue. And I don't know what's going to happen in November with whoever is going to be elected as our new president. I know that it will be by God's choice, that God says that he puts all the kings in office, all the rulers, the good ones and the bad ones, and they're all there to serve his purpose. And so I know it's going to be whoever God decides to put there. And it's not because, just because somebody gets in that place doesn't mean that they're a great person or the voice of God. No, he's chosen for a reason. And sometimes it's to discipline. Sometimes it's for judgment. Sometimes it's for blessing. I don't know what's coming our way. But to think that suddenly everything's going to just suddenly be okay and get better, I don't think so. So I feel the urgency that in my gut, that there is stuff coming, and I need to be as prepared as I can be for going through it. But as much as I prepare, which Survival Saturdays are about the tangible things we do to prepare, and the more, just hands-on stuff But the greatest preparation for whatever is coming my way that I need to do is right here. It's always right here, by getting in the Word of God and getting it deep inside of me and really, really devouring the Word and knowing what the Lord says, because He tells us basically anything that we face, anything that we need to do, or how to get through something, He's already got it here. And I am just loving my time in the Word more and more. Right now I'm reading in Psalms, and oh my word, it is speaking to me in ways that I don't think it's ever spoke to me before. I just finished reading Psalm 119 this morning, and it's 176 verses. It's a long chapter, and so I read it, and I took 3 days because I didn't want to just read through. I wanted to take time and really just really take it all in. But what an amazing psalm. What a beautiful psalm, and how encouraging it is. Like, okay, verse 89. Your word, Lord, is eternal. It stands firm in the heavens. Your faithfulness continues through all generations. You established the earth, and it endures. And it talks about, verse 97, oh, how I love your law. I meditate on it all day long. And just the importance of following Him. It starts out, so I'm not saying goodbye yet. In verse 1, blessed are those whose ways are blameless, who walk according to the law of the Lord. Blessed are those who keep His statutes and seek Him with all their heart. They do no wrong, but follow His ways. That's who I want to be. Verse 9, how can a young person stay on the path of purity? By living according to your word. I seek you with all my heart. Do not let me stray from your commands. I have hidden your word in my heart that I might not sin against you. It's just so much wisdom, so much food for our soul, so much encouragement, so much love, so much revelation of who God is and how He feels about us. And yet God does not pull any punches. There are some things we're not supposed to do, and it comes at a price. And then there's other things that we are free to do, and as we do those things, it enriches our lives. So I am just loving the Word of God, and I know that of all the things I do to try to strengthen myself and to get through the days that I'm going through right now, and to survive these things, and knowing that things are going to get tougher, whether people like it or not, it is going to get tougher. And there's a lot of people who are doing okay financially right now, but that's going to all change. And how are they going to handle it? I sat down with somebody like that not too long ago, that they've got everything they need, everything they want, that no stress financially. And it's tighter. Their money doesn't go as far, but they still have, can still get whatever they want. And I said, but what do you do when that's suddenly gone? What do you do if tomorrow you don't have that job anymore? And then it was like, oh, we'd be in trouble. Yeah, we'd be in trouble. So I don't want to be in trouble. I would already be in trouble if I just thrown caution to the wind, because we're already there. And, and the reason we were having the discussion is because this person is seeing now that this really could happen to them. And before, they just, they're a young person, and they just thought life will just always go on and be this way and just get better and better. And yet that's not what's happening with the world. So anyway, as much as we can do to be self-sufficient and self-sustaining, all these other things, making sure we've got food, we've got a water source, we've got shelter, all those things, they're so important. But I'm telling you, this is more important. So work on that relationship with God. build it, strengthen it. Don't leave that out of the things you're doing, okay? And visit your favorite thrift store ever so often. See what they got, what treasure they've got. All right, now I really am going. I love you guys. I'll talk to you again real soon.